counseling sessions and aptitude testing and everything. Whenever I ask the parents and the child, do you have any particular career in your mind? Interestingly, even today, at least 80%, 70 to 80% of them do say that we were thinking about engineering. So engineering is a great career, but when I ask them, okay, engineering is good, why engineering? Why do you want to do engineering? There is a lot of confusion, and the kind of answers which I get is, my father is also an engineer. My uncle said that if you study engineering, you will be getting very good jobs. And parents might say that, that's a sure shot job opportunity. So what are we doing in even a small thing like selecting a career, when we are not thinking about exactly who am I, what does my personality entail, what kind of work am I would really enjoy doing? Because so a child selects a career at the age of 16, 17, studies for another say 5 years or so. So by 23 he starts working. So after that, it's at least 50 years that the child is going to be the same thing, which for most people is actually very boring. So like I keep on meeting many people, midlife career crisis, where they finally had it with it. Like they had started jobs and working because money is essential, and then you get a family, so you have to fend for the family, so again money is essential. But a point comes when they know that this is not what I want to do. So the culprit behind all of it is that we are not thinking about who we are. Now, interestingly, though this might sound more like an Indian phenomena, a lot of it is happening in the Western world also. A lot of it, I won't say all of it. There are two types of families in the Western countries. Those that are continuously supporting their children in education and guiding them in everything, and those who want their children to be out of their house at 17 and they don't bother about what's happening in their life. So those who are really supporting their children, those who are supporting their children, they do have this thing, that certain type of way of living is better, certain type of career is better, certain type of thinking is better. So I've seen this phenomena across the world, more so in our society, because we still are a kind of a society where children are supposed to be listening without a question to their parents, even if the child is 50 and the parent is 70, or the child is 60 and the parent is 80. So we face these challenges more. But what we are realizing now is, as we grow up, and many of us are growing up into something that maybe we actually are not. Try to understand this. Every child, every person is born with a certain personality. And that's not something that you and I decide. It's like what we are born with. It's not something that our parents can decide either. And everyone is born with some talents, some kind of interest, some kind of inclinations towards life. And everyone is unique. And interestingly, the parents do not want to believe that their child is unique and different, and then that the child has to be, given a certain different kind of guidance. Our education system certainly does not believe in individuality at all, because even if a child who tends to ask too many questions in the classroom is not liked by the teacher. So individuality is not promoted at all anywhere. And even in the society, moment you try to do something different, it is not that you try to do something different which is bad, which is harmful to anyone. I'm talking about the normal things which you would like to do. So in a normal society, a child who was born in a family that has majorly been into jobs, if this child says that, I want to start a business of my own, I want to have a startup, there is a huge hue and cry, where every possible person is trying to tell this child, you do not understand, this is not going to work. This is not going to work in any case. And you will be ruining your life, and you should not be doing that. You decide, even in today, like we're talking about 2020, the generation next to mine, I won't say next to mine, the generation of my children, like I am 50, my elder one is 23. So the generation of my children also, they are having lots of revolutionary ideas. So many of them have decided not to get married. Many of them say that, okay, we might get married, but we will never have children. Now, even this individual thought, I mean, whether to get married or not, at least that should be my choice. Because can I adjust with someone? Do I really want to go through the drill of it every day, taking care of someone and taking care of the household and doing things in a particular way? Am I even ready for it? Is not given a consideration, because the parents believe that since everyone gets married, you should also get married. And the question is even bigger about having children. The way we are bringing up our children in this generation, we are not teaching them anything which is essential for bringing up a child of their own. Like sacrificing yourself, compromising yourself, making changes in your life, doing something for someone else most of the time. We are not bringing up our children in this fashion at all. And then we are telling them, okay, go and get your MBA, go and get your MBBS, go and get your engineering degree. And the moment you finish it, you're supposed to get married. So my question to all the parents is always that, which university is teaching along with the MBA or engineering or CA or other curriculum, which university is teaching you how to take care of your relationships or maybe how to bring up children? But that is not liked by people either. If a child decides that I don't want to get married, it's a big hue and cry in the family. So these are the examples. I just want you to understand that now what happens to a person who gets married under compulsion. That's the other part which I'm seeing in counseling also, because children are not getting married like early like they used to. Now 28, 30, 32 is a normal age for getting married, and people have formed certain way of thinking and looking at life, and then you have another person in your life according to whom you're supposed to adjust and all. So that is giving me a lot of bringing to me a lot of new cases, different type of cases. One is hell lot of number of cases where either one of them is wanting to opt for divorce just about 2 months or 3 months or 4 months into the marriage, because they just realize that, no, this is not what I am. One of the partner is wanting to have a child, another partner is not wanting to have a child. So that's another big issue. Sexual differences, the difference in sexual preferences is coming out so strongly in the society, because we are not supposed to even think, forget about talk, even think about that, do we have sexual compatibility? Testing is altogether different. But you're not supposed to talk about it, you're not supposed to think about it, but get married. It's not just the men who are complaining about the women. There are so many women who are complaining that my boyfriend or my husband is not interested in sex at all. But we don't want to take it into consideration. We are such a wonderful society where we feel that everything which is uncomfortable, or everything which I don't like, or everything which is not pre-approved by the society should be swept under the carpet, so that the room around it looks clean, and I feel that everything is going fine. I don't mind what's happening under the carpet. So this is the background on which I wrote my second book. This is the book it was in the poster also, so you must have seen. The title is For the Love of Me. So it's all about me. I have written this book in a fiction form, majorly because there are more readers for fiction. But it has got everything, a lot of what I have learned over my life, some personal experiences, a lot of experiences from my clients or the years with whom I have been dealing. I see so much of commonality there. It seems like one person's story is another story, is the same as another person's story. When I write my story, like my first book was Spiritual Parenting, the lessons from our children. It was a non-fiction. I had written mostly about me, what I have gone through in life, and the theme was lessons from our children and what I learned from my children. And interestingly, most of the people who really liked the book have been giving me this comment: it feels like you're telling my story. And similar kind of reviews I've been getting about this book also, that it feels like it's my story. So that much is the similarity between our lives. So this is a story with the protagonist. Is a 40-year-old lady. She's a British citizen. Her name is Spencer. And she's just lost her husband in an accident, and she has got two daughters, one just entering the teens and another following her. So the stories, I'll just explain the setup of the story first, then we can go into the depths of it. So this lady is, she's overwhelmed by everything that's happening in her life now. Suddenly she feels that, she cannot handle the demanding kids. One of the child has got very strong personality, who's always putting pressure and always fighting with her. Again, very common in most of the families. The money thing, how to manage the money and everything. So she's very, very overwhelmed by all of this, and she believes that because of all of these problems in her life, she's not happy. That's the belief that she has, and she's not welcoming anyone to help her either. But in one of the very, very desperate moments, she meets an old colleague, who is now a counselor. And since she's in practically broken down condition at that moment, she agrees to talk to him. And this book is about her journey of transformation over a period of time. There are lots of dialogues in it. The dialogues, the actual dialogues, the kind that happens if you have got a good counselor with you, because a good counselor will never ever give you instructions or advices. A good counselor will only help you discover yourself, so that you can make your own decisions with much more confidence and absolute clarity about yourself. So those are the kind of dialogues are there in it, and it's a beautiful journey of how one progresses through it. Today I would particularly like to read out a few things in this, and then I would like to discuss about them. I have marked a few things that I would like to discuss with you today. It's actually very interesting to read your own book after some times, and then suddenly when I'm reading, last night I was just turning the pages to see what I can share with you, and I thought, that is this me who's really written this, and feels good. So let's begin with something very, very interesting. This is about the fears. We all have fears in life. And at one particular time, Spencer starts to share her fears with this counselor. His name is Jack. It's Dr. Jack Weber's. So it's a lot of the book is about the dialogues and the interaction between Spencer and Jack. So in this particular session, she has had some experience the night before, and she thinks that now she has to talk about her fears. And this is something that I would like to read about it. So when he's asking, fear of what? She's always talking, I have this fear, a feeling of fear in my chest. And then when he asks that, what is it? Has something happened? Like, did you have an abusive childhood or something? She said, no, it's not that. And so this is how she describes her fear. I'll just read it out to you and see if you can connect in any way to this. Okay. Trying to answer this question that Jack had asked, she heard herself revealing something that she had never known about herself. End quote. Fear of losing their love, of losing them, of losing their acceptance. Jack, I always feared that no one would love me if I was anything less than perfect. I feared that I was never good enough for anyone. I feared that everyone was simply tolerating me. I have always believed that everyone who was with me was extending a favor to me by being with me. And if I was not good enough to match their expectations, they would abandon me. I had to be perfect. Over the years, I have met many people. I would say this was my story also, because whenever an author writes anything, at least some part of the book is definitely the author. That's the place from where you connect with any subject in the world. I have lived with this fear half of my life, and interestingly, now if you ask me, I know I have been blessed. I am good looking, I am intelligent, I am well educated, I have had a very good family, I am confident, and I've been doing so many things, and I have achievements in my life. Now this is now, today. I have not been believing it since my childhood till almost 30 years of my age. And in that desperate attempt to be uh, that for acceptance with from people around me, and these were my people, not even the society as such, but my people around me. I have done things which I think were beyond anyone's dignity. Like I would always go overboard to please people, and that backfires. That finally eventually does backfire. But I had been doing that for many years. And this is a similar kind of dialogue that I have been hearing from many of my clients. So this is where Spencer is getting insights into herself, because till now she had been blaming everyone in her life, that the problems because of the kids, because the husband died, because the mother-in-law is in a certain way, because etc etc. But this is when she starts getting some insights into herself. So fear is one thing which I have seen is pulls all of us back in the life. Fear is of different kind, it can be different kind of fear, but this particular type, the fear of not being accepted, is blooming, especially today, as we see hundreds of them um, connecting with people on social media, and practically being lonely on their own in the real life. Um, as we see that people are desperate to get approvals and positive feedbacks on anything that they post. And we have handled cases where there have been, like, people have posted something and there has not been an overwhelming response from people, just couple of here hi nice and things like that, and people have been experiencing like real life depression, because that one simple phenomena makes their belief stronger, that I'm not good enough, people don't like me. And this thing has also triggered a desire to commit suicide, because they feel I'm not good enough to live. So um, because I am fearful of losing this. So this is how it begins, and then the story goes on. She shares everything about her life, but then there has been so many issues over the years, and like I said that so this Spencer, she has been also doing things to please everyone all her life, and in that attempt to please everyone, she has basically forgotten herself, or she has believed that this is the way I should be. I should all the time be doing things to please others, and if anyone is not happy with me, it's my fault. It's my fault. So that has doubled her attempts to please others, which we see very commonly here. And because she is not even agreeing that there is something wrong with this pattern which is happening, there is no question of asking for help. There's no question of asking for help, because see, in our Indian society, if a couple is continuously having fights with each other, random fights with each other, and if you try to talk to someone, the first or the commonest response that you get it, "अरे ये तो सबके घर में होता है." Now, the moment that is said, you suddenly start feeling that, what am I rambling about? And then people have this habit of comparing your pain with everything else in the world. See, there are so many people during this Corona times who are not even having food to eat, and you are complaining about your fights with your husband or your wife. Now, I don't know how does that compare. Pain is pain. Just because someone else is having a bigger pain than me doesn't mean that I should not feel my pain at all. I am a human being. I do feel pain. But when society around you responds in this way, you believe that it's even wrong to accept that there is something bothering you, or there's something wrong with your life, and forget about even asking for help, because that's a third, fourth, fifth thing. So this is again another social pressure that we have, that don't talk about your pain. I have people who come to me, especially women, they are obviously in a lot of pain. When they're describing their issues and problems, they're crying, they're continuously crying. And yet they stop for a moment in between and say things like, um, um, I know it's not a big deal. I'm sorry, I should not be crying. इतनी बड़ी बात नहीं है, मैं क्यों बोल रही हूँ. That tells me that how many times she has been told that, boss, your problem is not a problem. And I don't know after how many days of suffering that she's finally dared to come to me or maybe to someone else to speak it out. But her pain is being seen in the tears. It is there, but we're not supposed to talk about it. That's again another very big reasons. So I have been since a couple of these suicide sprees in the last few days, I've been talking to parents and suggesting them that one of the best things you can do for your child is maybe while the child is still living with you, at least 4 to 5 times visit a counselor. Either visit yourself or visit with the child, not for a very big issue, something which is disturbing you. Okay. Now, suppose you are disturbed because your mother-in-law is saying things to you. The child has also been witnessing. Tell the child, I think I'll go and talk to a counselor so that I can help myself. Go visit a counselor. After coming back, if it's been a good session, tell that child. If it has not been a good session, you can always say that this counselor was not good. I'll go and see someone else. Okay. Now, what you are giving to the child is, you are giving the child a hope that when the child is grown up and when they are in that stage of life when they don't want to share with anyone, they don't want to share with their parents because they don't want to burden their parents. They may not have good friends or good life partners to share it with. At that time, at least at the back of the mind somewhere, they should have this feel it is okay to go to a counselor and speak. That's a big thing that you will be doing for your children. But I guess as a society, we really need to start working on it. So here's another thing that I would like to read. Somehow seeking help is seen as a sign of weakness and unfortunately not looked upon well by the society. Many a times people who knew they needed help were reluctant to reach out just for the fear of social ostracizing. And he says that he knew that people have the inherent wisdom to set things right for themselves. Now, this is what the counselor does. We have this thing that, counselor will have a magical solution to my problem in my life. So he describes it, says that people have inherent wisdom to set things right for themselves. That is how the powers have created all living beings with strong survival instinct. Even the smallest of creatures like ant and the bee fight for their survival. However, humans have to fight with themselves, mostly to even help themselves. Now, this is the tragedy of that is ailing the society. They have to fight the layers of false understandings and beliefs created by years of conscious and subconscious social training since birth. They have to fight their own beliefs about themselves that instigate them to live in a fortress, hiding themselves from themselves. And this again, I have been seeing constantly around me. I would definitely take credit for making counseling more popular in certain part of the country, because when I started off as a counselor about 20 years back, no one knew what counseling means and what a counselor does. People just knew psychiatrist and the psychologist, and they were popularly known as Paglo ke doctor. So when I started off with my practice as a counselor, of course, there was not much acceptance, and people would come and ask me, why would anyone come to ask you for their life? Everyone knows what to do with their life. Starting from there till today, just in small city like Nagpur, there are about 100 counselors, and every household knows what is counseling, and there is something like counseling. So whenever they need, they would come. It's not that they would go out for counseling every day, but they would come. Only thing which needs to be changed even now is that people still have the tendency that don't fix what is not broken. So they wait for everything to be, absolutely in a bad condition. They don't approach a counselor right at the beginning when they start seeing signs of problems in a parent-child relationship, or a child's certain kind of a behavior, or a husband-wife relationship, or a long-standing non-committed relationships. So they start seeing the signs, but they don't feel like sharing with anyone, because we think that anything going wrong in our perfect world is perhaps in some way my personal failure, and that's why they do not want to share it with anyone. So a lot of these things still need to change, but we have come a long way, and I do feel good about it. So there is something else which is very well. He says that, like I said, that we have many, many walls built around us, and he says that all these walls would make the person believe that that which is not actually the true self. It was observed that almost every second person had no real connection with the real self. The disconnection with the self would eventually manifest in the form of various psychosis, and bigger tragedy was when this very image stopped them from seeking help. And I believe that this is what is one of the very, very important factors here. And those of you who are Apollo fans would know what I mean. This guy just strikes you, where it hits most. So related to why we don't change ourselves, why we don't ask for help. This is something very interesting from one of my, again, favorite test book in the world, that is the Zahir. If you have not read it, please do read it. It's a wonderful book, the Zahir. Okay. So in this he quotes, why are people sad? That's simple. They are the prisoners of their own personal history. Everyone believes that the main aim in life is to follow a plan. They never ask if that plan is theirs or if it was created by another person. They accumulate experiences, memories, things, other people's ideas, and it is more than they can possibly cope with. And that is why they forget their own dreams. And this is where the psychosis actually begins. And in another place, he also adds, our natural tendency is to want to please, even if the person to be pleased is us. Um, every time I share this book with people, I always tell them that don't look at it as a book. Try to do some search, inner search, and see that where any of these things connects. Even one single point, if it connects with you, I guess it's the place where we can start working on ourselves. And what else would I like to share? Yeah, related with it. Um, so this is what Jack explains to Spencer. We often collect a lot of knowledge by the way of our association with people, books, and life. However, till the time it is in the form of knowledge, we are not able to put it into practice. Most of the time, people use this knowledge to convince themselves of their superiority, and also to convince the same to people. So this is very, very, this phenomenon is very commonly seen in what we call as WhatsApp Gyan by the WhatsApp university. So typically I'm observing in this period of coronavirus, very interestingly, people are left, right, and center forwarding messages. But how many are actually reading and understanding? Because I still see so many people, if they are visiting another family, they will remove their masks. So just because you know this family, we want to believe that they are not going to be affected by anything. If we are meeting friends outside, on the way we are traveling, we'll put on the mask. I see them even wearing masks in their own car, which is absolutely a no-no with the AC on. But they will put it on, and the moment they reach to some place where there are like lots of friends and people, they'll remove their masks. The basic lesson to be learned by everyone during Corona is keep everything which can take the virus in closed. Anyone can be affected. It doesn't matter. You cannot look at people's face and say that this guy is not affected. Anyone can be a carrier, me, you, anyone, and I can get affected by anyone. Simple things which have been passed on from messages to messages to messages to messages. But we believe that this is a gyan which is to be given to others. It has got nothing that we need to follow for ourselves. So this corona period has been a very, very interesting study period for what's happening in this particular period. So he says that we are always trying to convince us or others that how much we know, how superior we are. However, at some point, if we are really aware, this knowledge comes to us in the form of realization, and then it becomes a wisdom. This is the wisdom then that helps us to live by it. And this conversion of knowledge to wisdom requires a lot of self-work, requires us to overcome our need to constantly lecture others, tell others, tell people to change and do things. If we are able to overcome that, perhaps we will be internalizing more. And if we internalize more, that's when we start getting this, I don't know, once you have it for the first time, you might even feel like enlightenment. Wow, this thing has never stuck me. It's been around me for so long. But once that streak of realization starts, life changes. You don't feel the need to speak. You don't feel the need to continuously need to have people around you in the form of either connecting on social media or physically. You are actually content and happy with yourself. That's what starts happening, and it's a wonderful thing. So he says that we are all equipped with a lot of knowledge. However, after we are born, the society and the environment around us covers us with layers and layers of knowledge. We are told this is good and that is bad. This is the way to do things, and this is the right education. This is the right way to love. This is the wrong way to bring up children, and so on. Somewhere down the line, we acquire this knowledge as the knowledge, and we start believing this is the only truth. So basically, he says that whatever the society is giving us, not everything is wrong. We require it for our survival. But the problem is when we start believing this is the only truth. So if the society is screaming that engineering is a good career, then come what may, my child be an artist, I will ensure that I send her for an engineering college. I get those cases. A few years back, a young girl, a second-year student of engineering, was brought to me by her parents, the only child of parents. And they had actually come to me, like I said, they come to me only in crisis. They had come to me because this child had attempted suicide. When I spoke to the parents, you know what they spoke of? They said she's our only child. We have invested all our provident fund money and savings so that she gets admission into an engineering college. And now she doesn't put in efforts into study. Please explain to her that she can study. That was the parents' concern, and not to get into anything stupid like these things. When I spoke to that girl, she had some pictures to show me in her phone. Those were the pictures of her paintings and drawings, portraits she used to make, and trust me, amazing artwork. She said, "Ma'am, I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. Right from class 9, 10th, I've been telling my parents, I want to study art in any form. I cannot do engineering or anything else. But they said, nothing doing, you have to study engineering." You know why they said that you have to study engineering? None of them was engineer. But the world is screaming. Who is this world that is screaming? Practically the people who run the business of tuition classes. They put this huge hoardings across the city. This guy got into IITs and this guy got into IITs, and this is what will happen. Parents start aspiring, my picture also should be there with my, etc. So then she said that I was so much against it. I scored very less in maths and science in class 12. I scored very less in the entrance. But they insisted and they put all their savings and money into getting me a donation seat. And now when I am not able to cope up, when I try to study, it doesn't just get inside. I don't know what to do about it. And when I am not able to score, they are day in and night telling me that we are dependent upon you. Because of you, our life savings is gone. And now it is compulsory for you to become an engineer and give us the money back. She said, what other option do I have but to kill myself? Actually, if we look at it, who has said that engineers are the only ones who have a great career? There are highly successful engineers and there are failure engineers. There are highly successful doctors and there are doctors who are still struggling after 20 years of practice. There are highly successful celebrated lawyers and there are those who have got moth holes in their coats when they start because they've been standing outside the court to get some cases for years together. And then there is this pav bhaji wala, and there is this, in Nagpur we have this thing called as tarri poha, very famous. These guys are making about 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh rupees a month. So whom do we call successful? But we don't want to look at it. If your child says that, I want to do something like that, I want to have a food truck, you might be praising this food truck guy that you are seeing and eating with for days together. But the moment your child says that I want to have a food truck, you will be, absolutely going into the frenzy, telling your child, nahi, ye sab nahi karte. And I have heard people saying, that pehle engineering kar lo, fir tumko jo karna hai karo. As if they believe that studying engineering is like eating aloo poha. It's as simple as that. I always challenge the parents, just take one book of engineering and read 2 chapters and I'll take a test on you. Just do that. And you will never talk about engineering again, because everything requires a certain kind of aptitude, but we don't want to look at it. We are so much pressurized by this thing that I don't want to do anything different. I don't want to do anything different, because the moment I do something different, people are going to question me. So no, I will not do that. My child should not do it. His child should not do it. We should not do anything different. Just before we began, Kapil was asking me that, why did you shift your career from, so I'm a doctor, I'm an eye surgeon. And I studied in medical college for 10 years and I was running my own hospital for 10 years before shifting my career totally to become a counselor. So he was asking me, why did you do that? I told him that many people want to do that. There are so many who are not happy with the work that they are doing. Only thing is that they don't dare to do it because everyone is going to tell them this is not the right thing to do and they cannot withstand it. When I decided to shift, and this was 20 years back, this is not today when so many new careers are celebrated. This is 20 years back when I decided to do it. Everyone, including family and others, told me that your life is finished. You will never amount to anything and nothing is going to happen. Everyone told me that. Then when I shifted, of course, slowly, because we needed the money also. So I was running the hospital for 2 years and also studying to become a counselor and learn how to do it and everything. And then I started. Of course, we were 10 years into the career. So other of my colleagues, doctors who were sincere about it, in 10 years they had reached a certain place. I was nowhere because I started zero. People did not take me seriously for many years. And do I have the strength to bear it? Because I was a doctor, like you even talk of medical college and everyone's, wow, everyone start doing that to you since childhood. Even little child says he wants to become a doctor and everyone's like, wow. And if you get into medical college, it's like double wow. And then if you become a doctor, great. And suddenly you are no one. Can you go through it for the sake of your dreams? The society will not allow you. Society will not allow you. I'll tell you the reason why. It's very interesting. Because everyone wants to do something different. Everyone, but they don't dare to. So the moment you do something different, their roots are shaken. It's always a comfortable feeling to feel that I don't do, you don't do, we all remain ordinary. It's a very nice feeling. So if I am not going up, I'll pull your feet down to ensure that no boss, you're also not doing it. So that's why society is not going to encourage any of these things. None of these things. So we have many people now who are going into live-in relationships, but openly, we will never ever agree with that. Because if I say that my daughter wants to have a live-in relationship, everyone is going to make me feel that what's wrong with you. Interestingly, my younger one is studying to become a chef. And so when I share this with people, they, wow, very nice, it's a great career. We have seen chefs do very well, and they start quoting like Michelin chefs, and they will start talking about Sanjay Kapoor and all. And when their child tells them that I want to become a chef, pehle engineering kar lo, uske baad mein baat karenge. That's how we are, and that's how the society is, and that's why we are what we are, because we let the society in too much, just too much. All right, let's see what else this has. Okay, so in one of these particular sessions, Spencer is, before I go ahead, Kapil, do let me know if we have time limit. I can wind up anytime. So you can just,
Looking at the chat box, I can sense that people are really enjoying and they're relating to the talk. So please continue, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is when, again, they're going through this, that, what the society tells us, it's a truth. If it's a truth, then, what is a truth? So this is a discussion about what is a truth. And Jack, the counselor, takes Spencer through a certain thing. So he said that, okay, have you ever seen atoms and molecules? Okay. She says, I'm a student of economics. I've not seen it. I've read it, though, in my college days. Then he says that, doesn't it mean that it's a blind faith? Because you have not seen it, you are believing on something that someone has seen. So here they are talking about the meditation and the spiritual life. So this book has got a lot of spiritual insights also into life. And he says that, then isn't it a blind faith again? You are believing something that someone else is telling. That's also blind faith. But she's not ready to agree. She said, no, this is science, and this is this, and this is that. And he says, okay, answer this question. If you want to see atoms and molecules yourself, what would you have to do? She says, of course, I have to go into the deep research in the relevant fields. And he said, you're right, Spencer, there are ways and methods of everything. If you put in enough efforts and sacrifice your valuable time and social life, you may get successful in seeing some things called atoms and molecules. Till then, it is only a knowledge provided to you by some people who call themselves scientists and want you to believe that only what they tell you is true. Then he says that now consider this. There are some people who have spent years meditating on the nature of human existence, deliberating, studying, and again meditating for long hours. They have studied and researched, and by virtue of it, they are also scientists, spiritual scientists. They have realized the presence of consciousness that is called self, and they have got connected to some powers that they are much beyond our understanding, as quantum science, because somewhere he says that quantum science is also based on lots of ifs and what ifs. So it's a similar one. Is it possible? She says, yeah, if you say that, it is possible. And then what happens is, see, this is very interesting. She suddenly brightens up, she gets this point and she brightens and she says, I believe that there is consciousness. I have experienced this power and realization. I do not believe in quantum physics much because it doesn't mean anything to me. Now Jack corrects her. He says, Spencer, how can you be so sure that what I am telling you is the truth? And she says, now don't confuse me, Jack. You did convince me pretty well and you seem to have done your share of study. But then he says that is where the catch point is. We are always looking for definitive, specific answers from someone, anyone. Be it a physical scientist, a social scientist, a spiritual scientist, or a non-scientist. We do not wish to take up our own study, and worst of all, we do not believe in ourselves. We find it more comfortable to endorse and adapt to the widely accepted views and opinions of the masses. Today, you accepted my views so easily. Tomorrow, you would surely find someone who can convince you on his views better than I can. Then what happens, Spencer? This is what we all need to think. Why are we not using our brains? Why do we always look for something which is like definitive, clear, and sure shot, certain? Why don't we want to? It's like it's a life. It's an important life. Why do we want to do things just because people say it's the right thing to do? I'm not saying that be absolutely not responsible, but being responsible also, you can actually make your life more interesting, more livable, so that other people are not controlling it. Other known and unknown people are not controlling it all the time. Then he says, become your own scientist, Spencer. Be with yourself. Let go of the popular views and beliefs. You are you, and that is the only truth. This is your chance. Pain is always the opportunity. Let in the world for only as much as is needed for survival. But always trust yourself and your instincts. You have all your answers within you, and moreover, remember that there is nothing called as a universal truth. Your search would give you your answers, and they would be your truth, and that would be your science and your spirituality. This is kind of a turning point in the life of Spencer. So, why have I added the spiritual aspect to it? Because I myself have been studying spirituality for some time, and I myself have gone through a lot of difficult times in life, and I've seen that life does not have logic, does not have answer to everything in this world. Logic does not have answer. So every time we go through pains, issues, relationship problem, our children behavioral, etc., etc., our question is, why is this happening to us? And we never find an answer to this. The only answer is we can point out fingers to other people that because of him, because of her, because of it. We never find an answer that will actually help us find some solace and find our answers. And that's when I have realized that where even this is not me, this is, I'm quoting Einstein. He says, where science ends, spirituality begins. So we need to just open yourself. I would never say that believe me because I put it down in the book. No, I have done my own research, and I would not like to put anything down your throat. But just open yourself. See, just think, go back. Okay, just see how the world has been working. There was a time when people actually believed in spirituality. And there was a time when lots of things did happen beyond the understanding of people. Then came a wave which brought science in. And the proponents of science tried desperately for ages to prove that spirituality is all buff and it does not exist at all. So it's not that now when the spirituality and spiritual thinking and spiritual research is coming in big time, it's not that it's new something. It was always there. We tried many years to tell ourselves, no, whatever it is, it's only and only science. Though we could see that it's not science. Science has no answers for why a particular person dies at a certain point of time. You cannot answer that. But we are always wanting to go for something which is like, concrete, solid. Also, so similar to this, I'll give you some example. When Colgate came into India, that was the time when people used to use charcoal and salt to clean their teeth. And they spend a huge amount of money to market the idea that charcoal and salt is bad for your teeth. Then they introduced the toothpaste for us. And now they are selling us toothpaste with charcoal and the toothpaste with salt. I just want you to be open. Just because someone is saying one thing, please don't close yourself to another thing. Experiment, exercise, understand, and you will find something else which works better for you, which is maybe going to have your answers for yourself. Yes, I have seen one thing in my spiritual path, I needed to be guided. So one of my colleagues, whom now I called my spiritual guru, because his asking the right question to me on my every experience helped me explore my own truth beyond it. So we need a guru. Or rather, I don't know, this guru word has become very not good one. I would say we need someone who can help us explore ourselves in whichever way, whether it's our psychological issues, whether it's our relationship related issues, whether it's spirituality, whatever you want to. We need someone who can just show us or take us to that place where we are avoiding or where we are not reaching. Because and I know that whenever there is a problem in the family or in relationships, we know where the problem is. We also know where the solution is. But that solution would perhaps mean that I need to take responsibility of bringing something in play. If I know relationship is absolutely not working, and there is my relationship is absolutely not working, and there is something which is uh, hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
So there is something which is absolutely sorry, whereas I just lost my chain of thoughts. Anyways, let's just continue here and maybe I'll get back to it. Um, so this is one thing when she discovers how her parents' thoughts have had an effect on her own thinking and how she has molded her life in a way which was more of her parents' thinking. Now that she's realizing it, it's not her thinking. She feels. So her parent and her husband have both had very solid effects on her. So when they're discussing this, um, Jack is trying to explain to her, it has been known. Okay, so what happens before this is why this sentence comes in is suddenly one day Jack asks her to make a list of things that she would like to do in life. He said, forget about everything, just make a list. She does make a beautiful list, but then she's very sad about it. And when Jack asks that how do you feel after making the list, she said, it is good, but I will never be able to fulfill this wish list. And he asks why. And she says, the responsibilities, Jack, there are so many. I have to go back to work soon. I need to earn and take care of the household and the kids. There is no way I can afford to indulge in these things. After all, I have to focus on the essentials. How much so very lucrative it seems, but all those things on the list are just to beautify the life. There is no time for people like me for such. And when she's saying, she just stops in middle, and then she realizes I sounded just like my mother. Because when she was young, her mother had been telling her, ये सब फालतू की चीजें हैं, ये drawing वगैरह छोड़ो, ये करो, तुमने ऐसा करना चाहिए. And then she realized she's just sounding like her mother. But now her mother is not giving her instruction. She's herself giving herself those instructions. And such a powerful realization for her. And that's when Jack explains to her, it has been known that uh, this is one of the most commonest phenomena in cases of children, ambitious children with over-expecting parents. Harboring low self-esteem, these people grew up in an interesting way. They had high expectations from themselves, but their low self-esteem never supported their confidence of achieving that, what they wanted. Their desire of a particular life was not supported by the confidence to build it and live it the same way. Because where was the confidence gone? Because the parents were not supporting it. So even if she wanted or the children wanted, even if when you grow up you want to do something and parents keep on saying no, no, or the people who are important in your life keep on saying no, no, we don't dare to go out and still do it. So their desire of particular life was not supported by the confidence to build it and live the same. Hence, they thrive under the pressure of their parents while internally hating their parents for the discipline and the rule. Please try to understand this. They don't like what the parents are doing, but they don't have the guts to do it anyway. That even if my parents is saying, I will still do it. Well, now today, now they are grown up, they are independent, they are everything. But they are still not doing it because they are afraid to do it, but they are finding a reason in their parent that it's because of them and I hate them that I'm not doing this. The same process continues into their adulthood, and such personalities are often known to marry more dominant personalities and work under dominating boss because they like that drama. They like someone else. So I meet so many people who do not want to take responsibility of their life and they come into counseling and they would keep on saying things like nahi ye iski wajah se nahi uski wajah se nahi uski wajah se nahi. They keep on giving those reasons. There's so many people like that. So they would also choose husbands like that. They would also choose bosses like that who are kind of controlling so that they can easily blame on them. This is all happening subconsciously. I will choose people who will keep on controlling and dominating me so that I can stay away from the responsibility. And the bad that I'm feeling inside from not getting what I want, I can easily blame it on you instead of taking responsibility. Others around such person, people always wonder why they did not separate out, like if it's a bad relationship, or change their jobs. But the victims believe deep down that they were not good enough to survive on their own. and hence continued to both tolerate and complain about their tyrants. This book is full of a lot of such cases, case studies that will help you to get some insights for yourself or those people around you who need to be helped. There are a lot of other things, but I guess we are already to the um, 1 hour is already over. I'd just like to share two things. In this book, I have used one of my favoriteest prayer. It goes here before the story begins also, and it's also used where Jack is actually telling this prayer, this particular prayer to Spencer. Listen to it very, very carefully. It's called as Gestalt therapy, verbatim. So it's called a Gestalt prayer, and it's been given by Fritz Perls. You'll find it on the internet if you want. It says, I do my thing and you do your thing. I am not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine. You are you, and I am I. If by chance we find each other, it's beautiful. If not, it can't be helped. This is Gestalt's prayer. Do look it up again because you may want to read it 2, 3, 4 times and understand this. In India, especially, we have this system that at one particular time, only one of us should be happy in a relationship. One person should be dominating, other person should get dominated. Then it's a nice world. We do not believe in, you be yourself, I be yourself, and let's still enjoy life. We do not seem to believe that. So this prayer is something which I want you to just read and try to understand that we are not responsible for anyone's happiness in this world. We are not responsible. We have responsibilities, physical responsibility towards people, but we are not responsible. If someone decides not to be happy, let them be unhappy. Let them enjoy their unhappiness. Please don't spoil your sleep and your peace in the feeling that, this is what that person is not happy. And finally, one just last quote. This again, I have taken from a book, another one of my favorite books, which I would surely recommend to you. It's called Why Me, Why This, Why Now? By the author Robin Norwood. You'll definitely find it on the net. It's a very good book. And so this is being quoted from that book. And he says, in that book, she has quoted George Stevens. She says that George Stevens, the film director, said that when he was preparing to make the movie The Diary of Anne Frank, I'm sure that all of you must have read it. It's all about the Nazis in Germany and how they were torturing everyone. He says that when he wanted to make a movie on this, The Diary of Anne Frank, he first had to fully acknowledge the Nazi within himself. We all have a Nazi within self. So must we all every day acknowledge the Nazi within us, and the murderer, and the adulterator, and the liar, and the cheat, and the thief. We have all of this inside us. We just moralize for people, but at least can we acknowledge, yes, I lie. Come on, if I can get a hand on him, I would like to kill him and strangle him. I get that thought. Why not acknowledge it? Unless we are not able to acknowledge it, don't even claim of understanding anyone. He says, until then, we will encounter them outside ourselves again and again and again. So that's for the love of you, for the love of me, for you. If that interests you, if you would like to read, it's on Amazon. You can always order it, and I would be so happy to get feedbacks from you. Over to you, Kapil.
Sapna ji, it has been really, really a wonderful session, and I'm speechless. And while you were talking about the book, it was like the Bhagavad Gita being unfolded in front of me, because you started with Arjun Vishad Yoga, where he talks about his fear. Then you talked about Sankhya Yoga and Gyan Yoga, where you talked about knowledge being converted into wisdom. Then you talked about Krishna Bhava Bhavit Karma Yoga. So it was like each and everything about Bhagavad Gita has been represented in front of me in a modern vocabulary.
Yeah.
So that's really amazing. And meanwhile, I would like to ask members that if they have any questions, they can ask on the chat box. And one question we have is from Deepa Abonkar ma'am, that ma'am, what inspired you to write a book, and how would you share your experience about writing the book?
Well, like I said, every book has at least some part of the author in it. So my first book was I was a very observant mother and a very present mother. So there are so many things which had happened with my children. And when I went through a very difficult times in life, trust me, my children have said such things to me which has changed my life. And then I realized that everyone around us has wisdom. When as children we say, "Yaar, chup baitho, kuch mat sikhao humko," but they also bring. So if we actually start listening to our children, I guess we will not just be better parents, but we'll be better uh, uh, people also. So once I had asked my 8-year-old, this is just one example I'll give you. Once I had asked my 8-year-old, like we ask our children, "Bade hoke kya banna hai?" So I just asked her that, okay, what do you want to be what do you want to specialize in when you grow up? And she did not answer anything for 10 minutes. So I thought maybe she's not interested. She's just distracted. But that 8-year-old was thinking, and after thinking for 10 minutes, she says, "I want to be an expert in being happy." That you won't even hear from an 80-year-old saying. So those kind of wisdoms are amazing. So that's what prompted me to write my first book, because I thought that, there's so many things. And then I love to write. I've been writing articles from ages for all kinds of medias, and I feel I can express myself very well. And then being a counselor for 20 years, given me so much of material to write and to share, and I simply love doing this.
Great.
Anyone else?
So meanwhile, the question comes, I would like Ali sir to talk about his experience and his questions if he has any.
Yeah.
Ali sir.
Thank you, Kapoor. uh, Sapna ji, it's been an amazing, amazing 1 hour that we've spent together, and some more time.
It was my pleasure, absolutely.
Yeah. The first thing that struck me was my screen, the beauty over here. It's not the physical part, but what comes out through your eyes. That smile, that radiant smile. It says so much. The journey has been such a long journey. Yeah. And no wonder you've written this book. No one else could have.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, because each individual has his own journey, but when a counselor who meets so many journeys, I just put it up in that parlance, that counselor meets so many journeys, because each individual who comes for counseling has his own journey, has his own story, and the counselor goes through all those stories. And it's such a fortunate thing that you can experience so many lives in your own one life.
Yes.
In that one particular role.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, in that one particular role. And then you come up with your own journey, and then you not superimpose that, you just juxtapose that, and through your own journey and through their own journey, you create something so wonderful, which is called as For the Love of Me.
So well put. Thank you so much.
Which connects with every individual, and I'm sure all the 50 odd participants over here who are here today, they have connected with your journey as much as they have connected with their own internal journey. While I have a habit of taking down notes, I was like, what all do I pen down from this? I'd rather buy the book by itself. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Mrs. Spencer, I think, is a blessed soul wherever she is.
Yes.
Yeah, she could be written down by someone, a creator in you. Yeah. And obviously Jack is someone who for us is Dr. Sharma.
Yeah. Ma'am, meanwhile, we have one more question, that you talked about a lot many things about parenting. So what message would you like to convey to the youngsters of today, means young generation? Is there any message specifically for them?
I really think, I would like to convey the message to the teachers and parents more than to the youngsters. Just remember, when you were a youngster, did you like any messages to be given to you?
Absolutely no.
I would always say, that parents and teachers have to meet the children halfway at least. Unfortunately, parents want to pull their children back to 1857. And that is why this generation appears to be a rebel generation. And if we want to be with them, they're amazing people, they're fantastic people, very sharp and very intelligent, but their ways are not our ways. So if you want to connect with them, whether our students or our children, we need to walk up, at least meet them halfway. We need to go further ahead. They are not going to come back. We need to go ahead, and then they are ready to listen also if you meet them halfway. This is what I have experimented with my kids, experience with my kids. We have had lots of fights, okay, like everyone else. And it was me growing up, it was me changing, which has brought the change in them. So youngsters, I would always only say that, we are very fortunate to be born in this era and this time. That has to be realized. This is a very, what I would say, it's a very beautiful time to be, to have been born. The opportunities are amazing. The entire world is connected. You can be at any part of the world and do anything that you want. It is not essential to just do one particular thing. You can experiment, you can connect with people, you can learn from anywhere in the world. That's the only thing which I tell the youngsters is, okay, if you bog down with the pressures of life, please take help. That's what I'm always telling you. Please ask for help. Take care of it. Move ahead. No sense in just sitting in a corner feeling like a victim that I'm the only one and I need pity and everything. All that. Take help. Ask. If you don't have friends or family you trust, then go to a counselor. You can connect with counselors from across the world. If you want an American counselor, you can get that sitting in your house. Today I am doing online counseling and about clients across the world. So take help if there is a problem. And there are people who are providing counseling free. There are people providing counseling for 500 rupees, for 2,000 rupees, for 5,000, for 50,000, whoever you feel connected with. Ask, take help. This is a beautiful life to live.
Great. And next question we have is from Dr. Nancy, that I would love to ask that while we face low moments at times, we wish to be away from all and spend some time with self, want to travel across. But at present times, when each one of us is restricted at home, no outings and play date with kids, we are spending more time with them. Still each one bit, means parent need their space, kids need their space. So what would you suggest on this?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, especially those who have young kids. Those who have grown up kids, at least they are busy with their phones and their laptops, so you don't have to worry about them. But those with young kids, it's been a very, very difficult time. But I would say that, as young as 2.5 years, you can introduce the concept of me time. Children understand, they respond. You can start with 10 minutes of me time. You can start with 50 minutes of me time, the way the children respond. But get this concept because it will be helpful for them throughout their life. It's not just this 1 year or 2 years of Corona. And tell them that I need it. Mommy needs space. You need space. Dad needs space. It's an important concept to have space. If you explain it to them, they respond well. So do it. It is not essential that you have to entertain them all the time. Please do not get into entertaining your kids all the time because it's not good for them. It's not good for them. So what I had discovered that every time my kids would come to me saying that, I'm getting bored, I would say, okay, go and get bored in your room. Don't bore me. So let them, because I remember that when we were young, our parents did not indulge us so much. There was no TV and nothing. We were so creative because we had to do something. We would pick up anything and we'll make something out of it, which is the privilege which we are not giving to our children. We are giving them solutions and a ready-made lifestyle. So I'm saying that, just give them that freedom. Give them that freedom. Let them make things dirty. That's not very important. Your space of mind is more important. You can clean up later.
Great. Next question we have is from Neil Kumar, and he says that, do you feel self-gratification, which is on rise these days, and do you think it is a concern?
I don't want to use the word gratification. I would say peace, contentment. Yes, I do feel it, and certainly I don't feel it all the time because I'm human and I am no Sant Mahatma. So I do get affected by the things around me. But let me tell you that sometimes I had gone through severe depression, lots of challenges in life. Before that, I was a people pleaser, like I had mentioned earlier, with no peace of mind at all. I remember for years going to sleep late, very late, having done too much for everyone, and still asking myself, was everyone happy? Okay, so there was no peace and contentment at that time. But then my depression forced me to work on myself, and that journey was beautiful. Those 4 years have changed me so much that I'm thank you for all those people and reason for which I had the depression. I won't say it is because of them, it's because of our association. So after that, this one thing that, don't even try to make anyone happy. People can be happy with nothing, and people can have everything and still complain. Now, this is the problem with the parents of this generation. Whatever you give to your children, they are not happy, and they want to make you feel miserable and responsible for it. Uske ghar mein dekho, uski mummy dekho, they keep on doing all these things to you. Please don't fall prey to it. Like I tell parents always, remember your duties: food, clothing, shelter, education, security, love. Their luxury, their boredom is not your responsibility. Let them be. If they blame you, they say, okay, I am like this. What is the problem? I am happy. You want to do something in your life? Do it. So every time my children ever told me that, look at her mother and these things happen in other people's house, I told them, okay, go and live with anyone who's ready to take you in. I'm not bothered. I'm not going to prove myself to you. So the thing is that contentment will come if you realize a few things. Don't try to please anyone. Don't try to make anyone happy. And you need to connect with yourself. Because if I know this is good about me and this is bad about me, and you know what, I'm very happy about it. Because so I realize that I lie. And I realize that I am not ideal. And then I realize that actually I can lie very well. And now I'm proud of it. So, I don't get bogged down by the thing that you should not lie and all. In fact, I don't tell that to our children also. I tell them that you should not lie with the intention of hurting anyone, because lying is an essential part of living. So know yourself, connect with yourself, accept yourself as you are. Some things that you don't like with yourself, you can always work on changing it. There's no big deal about it. But if you take that definition of yourself from others, then you will not be able to work on it. You will never be able to satisfy others. And so that contentment will never be there. So yeah, in that sense, I would say definitely, if I have to even scold my children, I can scold them and then go about singing songs, because I understand that it is essential to scold at this particular time. So I don't take the burden and guilt around it. So a lot of these things are essential. And if you can dare to work on yourself, I took 4 years. It's a long journey. And if you dare to work on yourself, life is actually good. It doesn't have to be sad and depressed.
Right. Life is like a sandwich that you have to add the sauces of your own choice. Meanwhile, we have next question, that how can we motivate ourselves to ensure a worthy rapport with our kids?
So one thing is, be yourself, please. Be yourself. Don't try to be something that you're not. What we are doing is, to our children, we are actually projecting an image, the kind of image that Krishna showed to Arjun on the grounds of Mahabharata. Larger than life. Hamare zamane mein, I used to do this. You don't know what good we were. Come on, boss. You know you are not that, and I know you're not that. We were just normal people. We did all sorts of masti. I was attracted towards boys, and others, boys were attracted towards guys. जिनको जिनको मौका मिला उन्होंने सब कर भी लिया था, जिनको मौका नहीं मिला उन्होंने नहीं किया है. So we are all normal people. Accept yourself as normal, then you will be able to accept your children as normal. You will not try to make a Bhagwan Ram out of them. Please don't do that. The child will be normal. As a normal human being, for 10, 11, 12 years, they will be attracted to opposite sex. They will have relationships and affairs. Everyone is not going to do very well in mathematics. Some of them are not going to like the rules that you put down. Accept them as they are, and then find out smarter ways to deal with them. The only trick here is you have to be 2 steps ahead of your children. Otherwise, they are really smart these days. So become smarter, and like they say, work smart. Don't take stress of all this thing. Ideal, log kya bolenge, this people and that people, and that doesn't matter. Your aim is that you and your child should have a loving relationship, so that your child goes out in the world feeling loved. That gives him confidence to fight everything which is out there. That is the main aim. Whether he studies science or whether he studies humanities, it's not the question at all. So focus on the right thing. You will be able to connect with your children well.
Okay. So ma'am, we will take a last question, because I can see there are not many comments and not many questions coming in, but we will take a last question considering the time constraint. So, is it selfish to think of yourself?
Selfish is a negative word. Why do we give it such a negative connotation? In Indian society, the selfishness has been like a very something very bad. I would say give only one example here. We have all taken flights, okay, and the most important in flight announcement is please use your oxygen mask first before helping anyone else. If you die and choke on your own self, how you are of no use to anyone. So the parents who look after themselves, who don't look after themselves, thinking कि बच्चों का करना है, eventually take out all their frustration on the children only. They are not doing any favor to the children at all. So please come out this I would say wicked definition of selflessness that the Indian society demands, because actually no one is doing it. They only demand from other people. And so no, teach your children to love yourself first. You love yourself first, and only the person who can love and respect himself or herself can love others. Otherwise it's all a messed up relationship. So I would say love yourself, take care of yourself well, pamper yourself, and do whatever you can do to make yourself happy. You will naturally be good to other people.
Great. So, ma'am, I would request Shilpa to share her thoughts and the closing note for the day. It's really been a wonderful session from my end, Vince. I'm really grateful to you for accepting our invitation and taking time to address about your book, which is really wonderful. Share. I've already shared the link twice, but again, I'll share the link once again so that people can purchase the books.
This is
So,
okay, and this you have recorded this session. Where will it be available so that maybe I can also share it?
yeah, I'll share the link with you over Google Drive.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I can
So,
also share it. Great.
yeah, sure. Over to you, Shilpa.
Thank you so much, Kapil. So, Dr. Sapna, it has been an enthralling session, and मुझे एक घंटा कब कहाँ निकल गया पता भी नहीं चला. I just felt, it just should go on and on and on, and there are so many things to learn, and this is basically a part of introspection. I feel जैसे कि आपने बताया कि पहले खुद को जानो तो आप दूसरों को जान पाओगे. So your cup should be full first, and only then you can give it to others. And yes, the last question you answered, I could really relate to it कि me time बहुत ज़रूरी है. उसके अलावा be happy. I mean, you should accept yourself first, which is very true. We shouldn't be a people pleaser. That's amazing. काफ़ी सारे पॉइंट्स हम लोगों ने आज यहाँ पर सीखे हैं, एंड दिस हैज़ बीन अ सुपर संडे. Of course, we'll take some time to just sink in with all those thoughts, to absorb all the thoughts. But I think even if we can implement few of them, still we can have a much better life. So thank you so much once again. I would like to request all our participants to kindly go to our Granth Express Facebook page and Instagram profile and kindly put your reviews. I could see loads of messages coming in. The comment box is like almost getting full. They've been enjoying this session right from the minute one. So thank you so much, Dr. Sapna. And we would see if the participants, I would request the participants, if you want to have a workshop from Dr. Sapna, you can just register your interest, and then we can surely think of having a workshop also. So thank you so much. Over to you, Kapil.
Yes. So thank you so much, Shilpa. Thank you so much, ma'am. It has been, as Shilpa already mentioned, it has been a power punch of motivation and inspiration for us. So I thank you once again, and I thank all the participants, those who took out their valuable time to attend the uh, webinar today. So thank you so much. Wishing you a very happy, fruitful life ahead and a great Sunday.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Bye.
I'll surely get in touch with you over WhatsApp and over a call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be looking forward.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. I just put up a video of Granth Express till the participants are there.